Hello and greetings, all you beautiful people. Welcome to League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys in our post-Canada Day celebrations. Quick shout out to the wonderful country having its birthday that we filmed this entire show. We love Canada.
Hey, who doesn't love Canada? If you don't love Canada, I don't know what you actually really like in this world. But hey,
probably olives, and nobody likes olives. So,
yeah, well,
do you like olives?
I don't like olives. Pineapple on pizza, though. It's a thumbs up
You know,
for me.
that's
Big
okay.
time.
I'm okay with pineapple on pizza. Olives, no place anywhere on this earth. We're doing power rankings today. NA versus EU Rift Rivals was over the weekend. We didn't actually get a full recap out, but you saw what it was. NA's a lot worse than Europe. That's it.
I don't know how much of a recap you really need from the event, and the only reason why you might actually...
EU, NA.
Right. The only reason you might actually want the recap for the event is to inflate your own ego if you're an EU fan, just to hear talking about your region. But hey, gotta give your due here. They did show up absolutely steamrolling through, playing with a little bit of fun, of course, too, with some of the compositions. Yet I think, people are kind of debating about the seriousness about some of those compositions. I think a couple of them are pretty close to being
The finals were serious.
To being some, especially the finals, but some ideas that you might want to be implementing. Maybe not all of them in the same composition at the same time, but there certainly were some things that you can tell they are being serious about working about here and through that. But hey, NA teams, this is that wake-up call that you've been waiting for here. You are way behind these EU squads right now. Got to bring that level up. Except for, hey, TL, you got to
redo this. EU, NA, and TL's in the middle.
Yeah,
so
TL falls in somewhere, getting some revenge for MSI, picking up a couple wins against G2. That looks pretty good. I can't say the same here for the C9 and TSM efforts.
Those didn't happen. But what did happen was a lot of LCK games. They still had their entire week for week 4, so we're going to start with those power rankings, go down 10-1, starting with that 10-6, and obviously the biggest climb of the week, the biggest story of the week, and really every week in the LCK, regardless of standings, SK Telecom moving up 3 spots. Yes, Jin Air's still in the same spot. Hanwha, same spot. KT and Gen G both moved down because that's who SKT beat.
Yeah, this is one of those weeks here where SKT, again, you had to be picking up the wins. We talked about it that, hey man, if Jin Air does anything impressive in any of their matches, they're going to overtake you for that 9th spot and you'll be 10th here. They did definitely prove themselves in some of these matches against KT Rolster and Gen G, that some things are turning around. They looked a little bit better at being proactive in the early game, a little bit faster pace, but still, again, this is against teams like Gen G and KT, which, yes, we've been talking about them improving here in the summer split compared to their spring performances, but they're still not at that top end of the table, still not at that end that you have to be expecting SKT to play to, but this is a better, more, at least a resurgence here for this squad to pick up 2 wins here. This is a good 2-0 week for the T1 team.
And, I mean, really, you saw Faker and Khan looked a lot better, especially in some of these game 1s and the early game. It was not Teddy having to be the only carry performing well on this squad. Biggest surprise is, obviously, we're seeing a lot more effort than Mata.
Yeah, I think that is something that is a little bit surprising. Of course, you do know that SKT has still always been relatively high on effort, keeping him around with this squad from previous years and still developing with him here. But I think that, yes, as far as expectations go moving forward, I still think that Mata will be the starter when you get towards playoff times, things like that. But this is absolutely a time, and there's certainly a player in effort that's good enough to be utilized here to try and switch things up, find new things, maybe give Mata a break to look at things a different way.
And some positive momentum for them heading into Rift Rivals, going up against the big boys from the LPL. Something positive for SKT. You remember they very much limped into Rift Rivals going back to 2018. And now they're really just one game out of a final playoff spot. So maybe the doom and gloom slowly clearing. There's definitely some blue sky in the horizon for SKT. Let's look at these top 5 power rankings for week 4 in the LCK. You saw Gen G drop out. Afrika moves up a couple of spots to replace them because they didn't go 0-2. They got to win this week.
Yeah, simple as that. Afrika still showing us some of that promise, some of that potential that we've been seeing them kind of turn that corner here in the summer split, finally arriving with the roster that we had been hyping up a bit in that offseason. Players like UCal delivering on some of that potential and promise in the mid lane. And of course, when you're talking about Afrika, you can't talk about them without mentioning in the top side, Keen doing some damn dirty work there, up there, keeping things steady.
Now, to be fair, Keen got absolutely power blasted by Nuggery in that damn one.
Hold on. He's doing some pretty darn good work. You're going up against Nagari here. I don't care who you are. That's going to be a tough matchup, and that one has the potential, as you know, to go very volatile in one way.
Yeah, and I mean, you see Kingzone and Damwon in the same spots as last week, but Nuggery is absolutely showing up and showcasing that he's probably the best top laner in Korea right now.
Man, this guy has got so much talent, so many outplays coming through. This is the reason why, if you remember at Worlds last year, everyone was talking about this Damwon squad and talking about this amazing top laner that they've got. That is Nagari. This hype is absolutely real. He's stepped into this season's spring and summer, and he has shown not only growth in his own potential during those splits, but he's absolutely delivered on these exciting plays that you want, that outplays that you want to be talking and linking your highlights to your friends. That's Nagari. That's what he does for Damwon Game.
And Showmaker, definitely no slouch in the mid lane either. The top three right now in general, you can see that win streak. They've won 6 in a row, 6 in a row, and 5 in a row. They have been dominant, and all three of these squads didn't even exist in the LCK in 2018 spring. But Griffin and Sandbox, they were top 2 last week. They swapped places this time, even though Sandbox holds that head-to-head. I feel like over the last 2 to 3 weeks, Griffin have just looked like the most dominant squad, and both squads actually got to play Jin Air this week. So it was really a case of who looked better against the 10th place.
This was certainly, when you look at these two teams and the way that I, kind of look at them in the way that how they should be ranked here. Yes, Sandbox has been impressing us this entire summer split. We've been very happy with their performances. But there just is something about the way, as you said, those last 2 weeks that Griffin has really turned it on. The way that they're playing, the way that everyone is executing on things, the management, the micro and macro plays for this squad are just perfect almost every single time. They are a real treat to watch here in the LCK.
And let's not forget, coming into this split, they did make roster adjustments. They brought in Doran in the top lane, and people were immediately saying this guy's going to start week 1. But give credit to Sword. He has stepped up in a big way for Griffin. He's typically been the liability that people have looked to or the biggest weak point, but he is probably playing some of the best we've seen him play in the LCK over their win streak.
Right, and this is something that we've seen every once in a while, that sometimes it's not exactly the move of picking up another player on the roster to exactly necessarily directly replace a player, but sometimes it can be to push them in practices, provide them a certain level of testing in scrims, those type of things, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here with Sword's performance boost back up to the levels where it needed to be. Yeah, I think even better than we had probably seen him before at times in the LCK, where he was holding real steady in that top lane against, again, what an onslaught of crazy top laners here in the LCK, and he is absolutely managing himself pretty darn well here, and that turnaround has helped provide and propel here Griffin to be number 1.
Yeah, and all those solo laners going head-to-head against their LPL counterparts will be amazing. A 2-0 week for SKT, yes, but they're still 3-5. There's still a very long journey for them to get towards that top 3, because Damwon, Sandbox, and Griffin right now are a clear cut above the rest of the LCK.